Morning, everybody. So the month of July is, of course, when we celebrate Independence Day. It's not just a time for cookouts and fireworks. It's a moment to remember what makes this nation so special. And that would be, of course, faith, family, and freedom, and the brave men and women who have fought to defend it. But protecting those values doesn't happen by accident. It takes all of us doing our part, and that's exactly what AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is all about. AMAC fights every day to preserve the principles that make America great. I've heard that before. And right now, in honor of our nation's birthday, they're offering an incredible deal: 5 full years of AMAC membership for $35. That's the deal, and that's a good one. You're going to get their award-winning magazine, access to exclusive discounts, free resources, and you'll be part of a growing community of proud, patriotic Americans. You also get an 8.5 and 11 glossy of me. No, you won't. So this Independence Day, let's celebrate and let's take action. Go to amac.us/sunrise and join AMAC today. Let's keep the spirit of America shining bright. That's right, AOC. And speaking of AMAC, let's bring in now Robert Charles, who, of course, is spokesman for AMAC and, of course, a regular as well on American Sunrise. But most importantly, now he's also the leading candidate to become Maine's next governor. Robert, thanks for being here. You know, AMAC members, they're concerned about so much, but the far left is trying to fundamentally change America. And so I wonder about the outrageousness of this growing leftist movement, because they're attacking law enforcement, ICE, other enforcers of the law. They've been doing it for a while. I'm wondering where this disrespect comes from, Robert. I mean, are we living through a period where this new Democrat Party is teaching like a culture of disrespect for the rule of law? What's going on here? Good morning to you.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, David. I think you've actually put your finger right on it. Sometimes we live in the moment and we think, well, this is just another incident. But I think if you step back 20 paces and you try to understand what you're really looking at, what you're seeing is a lawlessness being taught on a regular basis. When you attack ICE officers and you have members of Congress trying to attack ICE officers, and you have a sense of the delegitimacy of law enforcement, you are teaching the next generation to disrespect rule of law. And frankly, we're seeing it right here in Maine. I talk about it brutally every day. When you have a sanctuary city law, sanctuary state law actually here, which is being passed, that says local law enforcement will be penalized if they or if anyone cooperates with ICE, you're teaching people to disrespect law. This is completely different from what we were taught in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and early 2000s. When you teach people, young people in particular, that attacking law enforcement officers is legitimate, you are ultimately pushing lawlessness. And it is strategically, I mean, there are sources for it, internal and external, but I think that it is reckless and actually, I think in many cases intentional, that the left is trying to, in a sense, disarm and demoralize the United States.
As leading candidate for governor in Maine, I know you've raised more money. Actually, you've set records raising money, and none of us want politics to be about money. But that's my first question when someone asks me to endorse, no matter how conservative they are, can they win? And it takes money to win. Unfortunately, it's the way our system works. But the Democrats there have just pushed for sanctuary status. And then you have Barack Obama, who spoke over the weekend, I believe it was, telling Democrats to stop whining and stop navel gazing. That's not really, I don't really have a problem with Democrats doing that. I have a problem with them doing things like seeking sanctuary city status, sanctuary state status in states where these criminals are getting away literally with murder, literally with throwing things, trying to kill, in many cases, our police officers, ICE agents, all the rest. But Barack Obama didn't say a doggone thing about that. Is he still the de facto leader of the Democrat Party? And what really needs to happen in the Democrat Party?
That's an excellent question. You know, I don't know who's leading the Democrat Party. I wonder to myself whether their leadership even cares about this country anymore. In the state of Maine, we have this Democrat Governor Mills, who is right there with the Democrat legislature trying to push back against the lawful attempts to get illegal aliens out of this state. We have perhaps 8,000 in this state. They are given special benefits. They are encouraged to come here. We now have, unfortunately, right not too far from me in Lewiston, we had a shooting in near an immigrant center. We have illegal drug traffickers all over this state. We have 300 Chinese grow houses that they haven't bothered to take down. We have Dominican drug traffickers here. We have Mexican drug traffickers here. We have the Crips and the Bloods here. This is not the Maine that we grew up with. And frankly, this is not the America that we grew up with. What we're witnessing is, and Barack Obama might have been the opening round in all this, the idea that you're going to delegitimize the institutions, the Constitution, the very institutions that are described in the Constitution, and in that process, you're going to undermine the Bill of Rights, those 10 fundamental rights that we think of as inviolate. And the bottom line is, when you push this kind of lawlessness, you get drug trafficking, you get drug overdoses. We had 10,000 drug overdoses in this state last year. That's an unthinkable number. So this is the kind of thing that gets me up every morning. I cannot believe the state I grew up in is racked by some of the highest taxes in the country, some of the most unjustified spending in the country, illegal aliens, drug trafficking, and frankly, one of the worst education systems. So when you at first go down that route, you create a vicious cycle. If you go the other direction, cut taxes, reinforce support for law enforcement, and you try to restabilize things, you create a virtuous cycle. So we're as a nation, we're actually, just like Maine, we're in a position where we have to decide, is that virtuous cycle, which we grew up with, worth passing on? Or are we just going to get caught in this vicious cycle and let people like Obama and Biden and all these lefties decide that they're going to define us?
Your government name is Robert Charles. Those of us who know you call you Bobby. I'm glad to be able to call you Bobby. In fact, I think one of the taglines in your campaign is Bobby for Maine. So tell the people out there who they get if and when they elect you governor there. What kind of governor do you plan to be? What kind of governor will Bobby Charles be, not Robert Charles?
No.
So, you know, the Bobby part is, I've always grown up as Bobby. And, you know, I feel like we in the state of Maine here are very rural. We get along pretty well with each other when we're not talking about politics. But I am at this not because I ever wanted to be a governor. I thought I was going to come back here to Maine and just be on Real America's Voice every day and enjoy that experience. But the reality is that this state is in peril. It is in genuine peril. When you have 10,000 overdoses, it is an unthinkable turn for a state. I mean, we lose kids, 40 to 70 kids a month. That is an unconscionable, unthinkable turn of events. The legislature hasn't been able to fix it. The Democrats have controlled this state for 30 of the last 32 years. And we have to get to a point where we say enough. And in the tax side, my God, you're going to see dramatic tax cuts in this state of the Reagan type and of the Reagan type and the Trump type. Real deep tax cuts on property taxes and on income taxes, because seniors can't stay in their homes. And young people cannot buy a home. The median income in this state is $200 less than the median rental cost for those under 35. So you can't save for that American dream that you imagined someday your kids were going to get a shot at. And so they stay with their parents. We're a state in genuine peril. But the good news is this: we are just inches away from recovering it. We have a couple of seats in the House, a couple in the Senate, and the governor's race. If we recover this race, we will turn this state entirely red. And if you can turn Maine red, you can turn any part of New England red.
That's for sure. Bobby Charles, great to see you. I need to get up to Baja.
Don't be calling him Bobby. Only I get to call him Bobby. Come on.
Wait. I get to call him Bobby.
You guys are great.
Thank you, Robert. I'll call you Robert. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, each and all. All right.
All right. From the great state of Maine, Bobby Charles.